Banka Manneh from Atlanta. We're going to look at the expectation of New Gambia, the shortcomings, way forward, and also the tribal politics. So it's going to be an open discussion. Banka, as you know, is an activist based in Atlanta, and he been a big part of the struggle. And we really appreciate all the works that he has done all these years for Gambia and still speaking. He has a platform that he co-hosts with Basam Bajau and Musa Jeng, by the people, for the people. I mean, by the people, right? For the people or by the people? Yes. So that platform
For the people, by the people.
yeah, for the people, by the people, every Sunday. So Mbanka, welcome. And welcome to New Gambia platform. We are a civic education platform. We discuss issues. We are impartial in our discussions, and we want to sensitize our, folks to get involved and play their quotas. Make sure that they are very conscious of what their actions are, and then hold our leaders accountable. So we're very open with our discussions, are opinion based. Unless we find some reliable source, then we bring it and then we quote the source. So we are very transparent in what we do, and everybody here is committed, just for the cause of the Gambia, nothing else. Thank you, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
You have the
Glad
floor.
to be here. Thank you.
Yes. So New Gambia. The first question is New Gambia. What are the expectations?
Well, thank you very much, Mo and Alas and Sam. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much once again for inviting me here. I'm glad to be here. Now, that's a very good question. Now, obviously, that's a question for all of us, which is, uh, did we achieve the new Gambia, or however you frame the question? But I think that to answer that question, we need to obviously ask ourselves, what Gambia were we expecting when we are fighting the fight to usher in a new Gambia, if you will, because we all hear the word new Gambia, new Gambia. And what does new Gambia entail? What is it about? But also, I think that to answer that question, we have to go back to what really gave rise to that question in the first place. Because if we really know why we are asking that question, then the answer should come naturally, I think. And so when we say, why are we asking that question? That's because there is something missing, or there is something wrong with the Gambia that we had. That's why we wanted a quote unquote new Gambia. Otherwise, we wouldn't want anything new, right? So the point I'm trying to make here is that when you go back and look those days, you will realize that we had a dictatorship, obviously. We had a brutal dictator, obviously. And we had a system that was so barbaric on so many levels, in so many forms. It was not even funny. And how is somebody could, like, who doesn't know Gambia or doesn't know our history might legitimately ask, how so? Well, here's why. One, people didn't have their freedom to speak out. People didn't have their freedom to associate with any political party or group, for that matter. People didn't have the freedom to be able to do their job. People didn't have the freedom to even go certain places. People didn't have any freedom, for that matter. That total lack of freedom was one problem. The other problem that we had was so profoundly serious was that there was no accountability at all for especially public officials. The president himself behaved anyhow he wanted, killed whoever he wanted, committed all kinds of crimes, uh, and without any accountability. In other words, nobody was being arrested or prosecuted for these crimes. So there was no accountability on that front. And the other major problem that we also had was not just the killing of our people, but also corruption. Our national resources, whether it's the tax dollars, monies that were put together, collected from the people, whether it's the foreign aid that was coming in, whether it's our natural resources, as in whatever natural resources we had over there, fish resources and other natural resources like bauxite and other things that we ilmenite and some of these things that were discovered to be over there. All these resources were literally being stolen in broad daylight, and there was nothing Gambians were able to do about it as far as making sure that they could stop that at that point. So the other problem that we were also facing to be looked after by the government to make sure Gambians had a good life, or I would say a quality standard of living. They were denied all those things. Like we didn't have the hospitals. I mean, I know people will say, "Oh, Jammeh built many hospitals." Well, you build a building. Building a building and having a hospital are two different things. When you want to have a hospital, I can turn my house into a hospital. So having a building is not the issue here. I can take what would you call it, a bantaba and turn it into a hospital if I want to. So yeah, anything could be a hospital. So the idea of just building a building and calling it a hospital doesn't fly with me. What make you have to put the facilities that make a hospital a hospital. That is the doctors, the medicine, the facilities, and all these things really that would make a hospital where people can go to and have quality healthcare. That's when I would call it a hospital. But if you just build a building in which that's just pretty much become a death trap, people go there and they just they even pick up diseases there that they didn't go in with. The potential for dying, during operations or any medical receiving any medical services was very, very high. So the whole idea of quote unquote saying he built hospitals just didn't fly. And still to this day doesn't fly with me. Those things were denied to Gambian people. So the resources that could have been used to make sure that we had healthcare delivery, a robust healthcare delivery system was totally lacking because the monies or the resources that were supposed to be put into those areas were being stolen in broad daylight, like I said. I can go to the education sector and talk about the same thing. We was building buildings, but there was no education in these buildings. I can go through the whole list of things that a country really needs. And those things were totally denied the Gambian people for 22 good years. And so, and in addition to even denying them healthcare, he was coming up with fake medicine, fake, treatments and claiming that they are effective, AIDS treatment, diabetes treatment. You all know these histories. I don't want to bore you to death with the details. So, I mean, that Gambia right there is what everybody was sick and tired of. And they said, no, we don't want this for ourselves. We want a different Gambia. And that different Gambia was what was being described as the new Gambia, quote unquote. So when we fought Jammeh to bring about change, it was a change from that system to a new system. So when people even, and I know we always get into the idea of, and I'm using the word system because the debate was always about new system, do we have a system change? Do we have a system change? That's why I'm using the word system. I have been using system change myself, but I'm not too, even though I'm not wedded to the idea of what is right and what is wrong. I like the word transformational change rather than system change. Because when you say change system, that's pretty much from a Jammeh to, somebody else. That's a system change. You have changed the system. But what we needed was a transformational change. That means literally, I think that's more involved, more profound, much more, and I mean, I would say a lot, much more impactful, if you will, than just quote unquote system change. Because words have meaning. When we get stuck with this wording, somebody could interpret that in a different way. That's why we have people sitting there and talking about, firing people here and there in the security sector on doing this or doing that, and calling it national security sector reform. That is not a reform. That is not reform. But because their mind is wedded to this change, so as long as we have change, it's okay. And change is not what we wanted. We want a transformation. That's why we want to get rid of Jammeh. Because a change will simply mean get rid of Jammeh, bring somebody else. That's change. You've changed. That's change. do away with Momodou Sawaneh and bring in Alas. That's change. We have changed something. But that's not transformation. Because if Momodou Sawaneh's running way of running business and the way Alas and Samba do it is the same, then you have changed the system, but you haven't brought about this transformational change because that
And
is a
that's
whole
change of
different ballgame. Exactly. So all you've done is change personalities. And unfortunately, and to answer to your to answer, give you the answer, direct answer to your question, all we did, it seems, was just brought about change. That is, get rid of Jame, bring in Barrow. But transformational change hasn't happened because none of the changes that we wanted, none of the new systems and new way of doing things, new approaches to doing business, new country, new vibes that we were looking forward to is what is totally lacking. So that's why many people are saying, "Oh, we just get rid of Gambia, but system is still, but we still have the same system going on, or the same style, the same approach, the same." I mean, because literally that's how it is. In fact, Gambia's guys are still the ones running the show. So all we did was change Jammeh, get rid of Jammeh and bring it Barrow. But what else has changed? Nothing else. There is no transformation going on because we are still in the old system, the old way of doing things. So, so we did not do a transformational change. All we did was change one government to another. That's all we did. And I think that part is what I find regrettable. Now, don't get me wrong, we don't have the killings, we don't have the, the kind of abuse that we saw, like tortures and, the most egregious stuff. We don't have that. But I think the bar would be set way too low if that's what we are going to settle for, because that was not even supposed to be in the discussion. That's not supposed to be a trade-off because that is too obvious. That, I mean, is too cheap, too easy. My freedom from abuse, like torture and stuff like that, I don't think that is even an issue of negotiation. That's a given. That should have been off the play, even for Jammeh. That shouldn't even have been the discussion. What should have been the discussion was Jammeh an effective leader? Did he deliver on the promises that he made to the Gambian people? That should have been a discussion, not the killings and the tortures and stuff like that. When he did those things, that's when he proved to us that he is so evil, so horrible, so disgusting. It's not even funny because that should not even be the discussion, because that should have been too obvious. And so, yes, when Barrow came, those things are not happening. But for me, that should have been way too obvious. That should have been the case anyway. We shouldn't have even discussed that. That is even non-negotiable. The debate should never even be about that. I don't want to debate on whether people can be tortured or not. I don't even want to have that conversation because I think it should be so obvious to all of us that we shouldn't even be sitting here and discussing whether it was right for people to be tortured. Was it right or wrong? I don't even want to have that conversation with
should
anybody.
not be a topic.
Was it right or wrong for people to be arbitrarily killed? I don't want to even have that conversation because it's not worth my time. That should be too obvious to all of us. The debate should have been about, okay, Jammeh promised to deliver, for instance, on healthcare. Did he deliver? Well, we can get into that. Okay, I'm willing to have that debate. Did he deliver on education? I'm willing to have that debate any day because those are policy matters. But should Jammeh have stolen our money or not? I don't want to have that conversation because that's obvious. That's too cheap to even sit there trying to explain that whether that's right or wrong. You see, I want to have a debate over policy matters. I don't want to have a debate over criminal matters because criminal matters are criminal. When you steal, that's criminal. When you kill, that's criminal. When you torture, that's criminal.
Right.
When you have a failed policy, yes, it's wrong and you should be booted out of power, but it's not criminal per se. It could be because the person just had a wrong prescription. Those things do happen. So I'm willing to have that debate. Okay, they did inject all the funds that they claim they're going to invest into this sector. We just never had the return on our investment. I can have that debate. I can have that conversation because that would mean the person did something. It just didn't materialize the way he or she probably expected it to. But on our case, that's not what is happening. What is happening is we have people, up to this day, corruption is rife, is rampant in that country. And I don't want to, that's not a debate, that's a criminal matter. People who engage in those things should be prosecuted.
Right.
That should not be a conversation. So sadly enough, we have parts of the Gambia behavior that literally we don't have anymore. But I don't want to thank the government for those things because, like I said, that's criminal. Killing, torture. I'm not going to thank you, but thank you for not torturing us. Oh, thank you for not. No, I'm not going to. Why should I do that?
Or not yet.
Exactly. Now, corruption is still, but like I said, there are parts of it that are still rampant, like corruption. Corruption is still rampant in that country. And when you say these things, people say, what's your evidence? I don't need an evidence. That onus lies on the government. If I'm a minister, and I never had a home before I became a minister, I didn't have a Mercedes Benz, brand new Mercedes Benz before I become a minister. I didn't have. I can go through all the luxuries. 1 month after I became a minister, boom, I'm having all these things. I think the onus is shifted on me to explain to the people, how did I get those things? So that they can understand, well, that's not our own money. Because like I said, alas, let me give you an example, or Samba, or Modu. Yeah. If you, Samba, or Alas, or Modu, is living a modest life, and I come in and I take my $200,000 and I give it to you to hold it for me, to keep it for me. And day after tomorrow, I see you buy a brand new car. And all of a sudden, you are I'm going to be going, wait a minute. Let me go to this guy and have a conversation with him. What's going on? I mean, this is the point. Now, so it's important that he explains to me, you guys, whoever has my money, explain to me in clear terms where you got all those other funds from, that you are doing all these other things. Otherwise, I'll be worried. Now, in the Gambia, this is what is happening, and in every instance throughout human history, where people did behave like that, those things did happen. It always turns out that those people, in fact, people are right to be suspicious that they, in fact, stole public funds. Yeah. When Yahya Jammeh was telling him he got money from Allah's bank, none of us believed him, even though we didn't have quote-unquote evidence, clean evidence to say, here's the document. He stole the money. Now we are proven right, after all, and I'm not surprised that we are proven right. That in fact he was stealing our money. There was no Allah's bank. So this is what is happening up to this day today. So these are the issues that we have in that country. Corruption is very rampant still. We still have relics from the past that still we haven't done away with. The security sector is in total disaster, and we are all at risk because of it. And that's why we cannot even honestly say that we want ECOMIC to leave. We don't want ECOMIC to leave because we know we are not ready for ECOMIC to leave. I want ECOMIC to stay right now because if they leave, we are going to be in trouble. And I know that's why Barrow himself doesn't want ECOMIC to leave, because he knows the moment they leave, we cannot protect ourselves from ourselves. That's how dangerous we are right now. So at the end of the day, we have sector after sector I can go into, agriculture. You all know these things. I don't want to go into the details to bore you to death with explanation. But you all know all the sector: education sector, health sector, agriculture sector, security sector.
A lot of problems.
Electricity, energy sector, that is. Electricity, water supply. These are things that I'm not making up. Every day we are all hearing from the Gambian people how they lack electricity. It's very hot over there right now, extremely hot. There's no electricity. Some people have to get up early in the morning to fetch water because otherwise they don't have any water the whole day. Food sufficiency is we are nowhere near food sufficiency. We cannot feed ourselves. We all know that. I can go through all these lists and not really even blink. because these are too obvious. We know this is what we have. That is not a transformational change, folks. We just change from one government to another. We still
Right.
have the good old horrible.
We change a president.
That's all we did, honestly. And in fact, the players are still the same. I mean, ministerial posts are still in the same hands. I mean, in so many levels. I can, again, if I were talking to a medium that is not Gambian, then probably I would decide to go into a lot of details about these things. But you all know where I'm heading with this.
Yeah, yeah,
The ones that
definitely.
are listening and watching probably already know where I'm heading with this. So I will just keep it there just for the sake of time.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
very
Banka,
much.
for that. So, um, before Allah's coming, I just wanna say this: you have given a whole lot of issues that we are encountering with this new change. What
Mhm,
are the shortcomings? What things, corruptions. You have said a whole host of things, and these are
mhm,
all disappointments. This
mhm,
shows that we are disappointed, we are frustrated, that we want to change. Now we get something worse than what we were having. That being said,
mhm,
what do you think is the way forward, especially in the terms of reform sector? Like, we have seen TRRC, Janet Commission. We have seen how the constitution went down. Now, those are disastrous to the well-being of Gambia. Because when we
mhm,
talk about transformation to change, we even talking more so about having those things change so people can live in the country comfortably. They can have their citizen rights. They can go and protest. They can go and organize rallies. They can speak up without being threatened,
mhm,
and they will be able to invest without being discriminated, and so forth and so forth. But this
mhm,
whole entire constitution was thrown down the drain thanks to the parliament with the influence of the executives. Then we are square one, and now even TRRC is like a laughable matter, because who would even believe that the recommendation would be implemented after what we've seen with the Janet Commission?
mhm.
So what do you think, is the way forward, so that the election is right at the corner? Gambians can be able to have a final chance to change the direction of our country. Otherwise, if we stay like this, the promise is that we're gonna plunge into something that we can never recover from. What is you think is the way forward? At least the listeners and the people who are voting could probably carry this to help them make a decision 2021.
Mhm.
Yeah, then
Well, I
others
mean,
can come in after that.
the way forward is for the voter to get sensitized, to be educated, to be informed. Because you see, at the end of the day, the politicians only respect one group of people and one thing alone, and that is the vote to get them out of power. That's all they respect. The moment that gets threatened, then they do the right thing. That's the incentive, because their behavior has to be incentivized somehow. So once they understand that when they commit these crimes or they don't do what they are supposed to do, that they're going to be booted out of power, then they literally do change course and then they do the right thing. So it's about time the Gambian people, we continue to engage them, we to continue to talk to them and remind them of the fact that the Gambia that we envisioned, the Gambia that we were looking forward to having, that Gambia has not manifested, it hasn't materialized. Now, but obviously, the other side of that coin is that then replace. I mean, what do you do? Because when the voter is going to be informed, the voter also has to be informed of what options they have. You don't just vote this one out of power. Replace him with what? That's a question that we need to have, and I think that's a conversation that we also need to have. You see
Right.
what I'm saying? Otherwise, what potentially could happen is we just like we did get rid of Jammeh, we have Barrow. Well, getting a Barrow alone doesn't guarantee anything. In fact, it's meaningless if Barrow is not replaced with something better than Barrow. You see what I'm
So
saying?
do you think we have options out there?
Well, that's the conversation that we all need to have, because if you ask me a personal question like that, yes, we do have options out there. But those options, how do is the voter well informed to really look at these things and then judge for him or herself? But whatever answer I give you on that will be more of a personal opinion. People's opinion can differ on this. But what they need to do at the end of the day is not necessarily to stress on for me to say, oh, this one here, pick this one, pick this one. No. What I think we need to stress on is to tell the judge, the voter, go and look at these parties and see each and every one of them, scrutinize them, quiz them, watch their behavior, watch their actions, and then make up your mind as to whether that's the party that is worth replacing Barrow for you. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Because otherwise, these outright endorsements are fraught with all kinds of issues. At the end of the day, in fact, you cannot have a good conversation when you have already just endorsed some party or group or person in the middle of a conversation like this. It's important to put the emphasis on the due diligence part, because I think that's the one that is more, if at all voters are able to do that, I do believe that the convergence will take place eventually. That is, most people will see for themselves where their vote should go. Does that make sense? Instead of me saying, choose this person, if I say, hey, Mo, you know what I think you should do? Go back and look at these parties. Look at their leaders that they are putting forward. Look at their manifestos. Look at their behavior. Look at their history. Look at how they are conducting themselves. Look at their personnel. Look at their, all the things that are needed for the scrutiny to take place. If you more are able to do that, there's a pretty good chance the conclusion that I have drawn on my end, with my own process, may be the same conclusion you will draw. Because I know you and I both want the same things. We all have the same aspiration. We all have the same kind of Gambia. And that's why when I said here that we didn't, what we envisioned, we didn't get, you guys didn't come back and say, no, that's not true. You all agreed with me. Because apparently it seems the issues that I have are the issues you have. What I saw, what you saw. How I feel is how you feel. It looks like we are all on the same page on that. There has not been a discussion about, no, that's not true. The Gambia we always wanted is the Gambia we have. In fact, this is what we were looking forward to. This is what we want. We are settling for this. That's not the conversation here. You all agree with me because apparently we all are seeing the same thing and we all are coming to the same conclusions. So the same step, if we are going to take the next step, that is to say, so what next? I think then the conversation needs to just emphasize on what will really make it easier for us, or even allow us to independently verify for ourselves, independently arrive at conclusions in our own unique way. And I do believe if we are to put emphasis on the due diligence part, and everybody does the due diligence, I have no doubt in my mind, more, just like we agree on the problem, we will agree on the solution.
I know.
Does that make sense? So this is where I think all of us need to make sure that we when we have a conversation, we don't necessarily go out there and endorse party A or party B or person A or person B. We literally put emphasis on our shared vision, our shared aspirations, our shared dreams, that Gambia that we want. Let's put the emphasis on that and say, hey, if you scrutinize all these parties to where you arrive at that conclusion as to this party or this leader is the one who is going to work towards these goals, that is your party and that's our guy. I believe if we don't do, most of the time, that's what we fail to do. People are just literally just following parties for all the wrong reasons. If I'm just going to support a party because I'm fuller and I'm just going to support a party because the party leader is fuller. I'm just going to support a party because I'm a Mandinka and the party leader is Mandinka. Then I think to me that doesn't solve our problem.
That is Allah's next question to you about tribal party.
Exactly, and I know that's where we are going. So that's why I'm preempting to my logic is going with this because it will.
That's why you're getting prepared.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Banka. You have explained everything. I mean, You are right, and I used to say that too. You know, we can only change Gambia when the people know the use of their voting cards,
Mhm.
and that's the fight we're doing to make sure that people know their rights, being a Gambian, how important the voting cards are, that they can change with it anything they need,
Mhm.
you know. But just to be fair and real and know that this voting card is going to give me the chance or is going to solve my problems. That's how the
Mhm.
people should know the use of their voting cards. I mean, you've
Right.
mentioned something here just now that was also a right point. You know, you cannot just vote for somebody and say because it's my this thing or it's my. I used to say that these are the problems we have in Africa, not only in Gambia. We have seen Guinea. It was also a very tribalist group. So now it's a point they are with their group and don't have help from the other tribes. You
Mhm.
understand? So that's the result of it, to be tribalist. You know, if they were fair to the other tribes, you'll see that these tribes will also come now and they'll put away this man. So they are wondering how can Gambia solve that? And we cannot. Many African countries are still wondering about Gambia and their action. It's not a joke. Many people don't know. But I mean, it's not only being a group and do something. There are other mechanisms in it and other channels to make this successful. And that's, I think, the missing point by Guinea and all these African countries. So we were lucky somehow, you know, and this is our problem, not only in Gambia, but the whole of Africa. Because people do vote, they are having voting cards, but they do vote because I know you, Banka, so I vote for you. You
Mhm.
know, we have tribal problems, we political problems, we have, I used to call it emotional politics. You
Mhm.
know, we have religion, we have relationship,
Mhm.
and all these things are affecting us
Yeah.
politically, socially, economically.
Mhm.
Unless we try to solve these problems, I used to say, then we'll go for, you know,
Mhm.
because even voting the right person, Mr. Sawaneh, let's say, is a gentleman, he knows what he's doing, we can give him our vote. But you mentioned it here. The people should always ask themselves, is he going to solve your problem? To hear first what is his agenda, you know, and then make a decision. Or what he's saying, or start with, can I believe in him? What he's promising seems to be good for me, my life in the next 4 years.
Mhm.
So then make your own analysis yourself without your wife, your father, your mother. It's your own individual right to decide what you want, who is going to bring you forward without looking left and right, tribe or religion or all this nonsense, and vote. You know, if you see these developing countries, that's how they vote. They are fair
Right.
to themselves. You know,
Mhm.
here you will have a wife, he will vote for this party, the man will vote for this party, they come and launch, and that's it. The
Mhm.
man don't even need to say, I vote for this person today or that. No, this is last topic.
Mhm.
You know, they know that they are, it's a law to vote, and they went to vote to express their feelings and how to call it, and that's it. Here you don't even see people talking about it
Mhm.
or talking about party. That's why we go and vote different times. Some will go early in the morning, some will go in the, and from there you go and drink coffee and so, if you meet some people, you discuss or something. But you will see the voting place, no group, nobody.
Mhm.
It's just like the church because it's all personal. So, I mean, I used to say, we are having our uh, small baby, I used to call it. It's our new democracy. It's definite after 22 years that the society, the people, I mean, we have to be used to democracy because all what we know till now is just the freedom of speech. If you tell Gambian now, what is democracy, they tell you freedom of speech, but that is just a small part of it. So all these things to make it a realistic, right democratical country, we have to, it's a process. It's coming bit by bit. What I would say the politicians, whoever is, they have to always try to inform the people if they want to also help them to explain like what we're doing, tell them this is that and that and that. Luckily, when God help us to know more, we can always give it back, you know. But normally, these are responsibilities from opposition and politicians to tell the people and then try to train them to think democratically, not just to make noise and then they vote for them and they promise them and they don't see nothing. And all the year round, because this is a very old method in Africa and that needs also to be changed. I mean, you mentioned something about what people were expecting and what is today now. I mean, I can tell you that we have changed a president 100%
Yeah.
because he's not killing or not yet. I mean, you know, there is a difference. So, and we have freedom of speech. It's also a part of it. But people miss also all what you have stated. You know, I mean, when you look at the education, when you look at the, you know, it's Gambia. You can talk from morning to evening. You know, so this expectation, what people were expecting, is not yet there or is to come. You know, because I know that Gambia we are having a major problem economically. You know, that's why I'm always angry when I see people misusing the money. You know, or allowing corruption to grow. If you don't have, you have to be careful of your economy. You know, that's why I always say, why is even the anti-corruption bill should start yet after 4 years when you know that the country is a corruption paradise. That's where it started. I mean, this time I cannot blame Mr. Barrow because he did his job, his part, he signed it, but the thing is somewhere where people don't even want to talk about the topic. That's the problem. I mean, they're working now about it. I hope that it's going to be solved. But
Right.
being a poor and corrupt country, that would have been the first and most important bill to be signed before anything. Because we know all what we are talking, all the problems we're talking today, I used to say they are all products of corruption. They are all fruits of corruption. So to solve the problem, you have to start right at the top and solve it. Then downwards will be no problem.
Yeah.
Because we all know, you've mentioned it here. You don't need to ask or accuse anybody. You can see it there, right? We all know what the people are receiving for a salary. If I appoint you banker, I pay you 2,000. Tomorrow I see you with a villa or a car, the suspect will be there. I don't need to ask you. I know that something is going on. And it's a democratic place. You cannot just accuse somebody according to the constitution, but you can
Right.
make a board that they try to look at it and see whether banker is stealing this money or not. If if I cannot do that, then I'm not
Right.
ruling because anybody can do anything. That's the problem I think the government is having now because everybody is doing what he wants, but the government cannot do anything. Have you
Right.
seen anybody accused these 4 years to go to court because of corruption? No, because the tool is not there.
Right.
And these are the problems we have. We have a lot of things to reform, you know, not only the educational sector, but the, you know, you name it.
Yeah.
I hope that it will change. And my only advice is when we want to take Gambia forward, we should start knowing the use of voting cards. That's the beginning. Once we
Yes.
don't know that, we stay where we are or we going back. You know, we must know that and try to put away all this tribalism, nepotism, I don't know how to call it, emotional politics and religion politics. And these are all nonsense. I met a person, he was telling me, you know, the problem of Africa, what you are having, you people are concentrating more on very unimportant topics.
Yeah.
And he's
Very
right.
true.
He's an American. He's an American. He told me, look, we here in America, the Jews are 1%. You know, 1% of the population, just imagine. But they are controlling the economy of America. But many people don't ever think. Why? Because they come together, try to share the same idea, you know, and then move together, and everybody the order. And this is just 1% in America, and they're controlling your economy. Just imagine.
Yeah.
Because they are busy with other topics than tribalism and nepotism and religious problems, and this is not a problem just for Gambia, for Africa. That's our problem.
Yeah.
I think I can leave Sam to comment, but he's now not to be seen. And Sawaneh
Very true.
comments. Thank you very much.
Very true. I agree with you.
Thank you, Alas, for that. Banka, you have a, you wanna look into tribal politics? You wanna say something about that?
I think Sam. But I'll just hit the nail right on the head. Because at the end of the day, you have to understand, tribalism is not going to put medicine in our hospitals. Tribalism is not going to build our roads. Tribalism is not going to put the resources in our schools. Tribalism is not going to give us full sufficiency. Tribalism is not even going to give us justice. Tribalism just doesn't give us anything other than the identity aspect of it. And that's all it is, identity. That's it. So if that's all you are going to get out of it, identity, and the pride that comes with identity, but yet still the things that are supposed to guarantee your future and your children's future are not being addressed, then what's the whole point? Because identity even becomes can only be relevant when you are alive, when you have food to eat, when you have, a good environment to live in, when you have, when you can survive. But if you cannot even survive, you cannot even breathe, what is the whole point of identity? So I think we have this thing upside down. The things that should take, I would say, precedence. In other words, the things that should matter, the things that should be our focal point, that we should be preoccupied by, are being put at the back burner over a highly charged emotional issue that really delivers nothing for us. Nothing. Because you cannot really rationalize it in any other way other than that the issues that we should care so deeply about, because those are the issues that really affect our lives. And that is healthcare, education, food sufficiency, good environment, healthy living, infrastructure, national resources that will enhance our living standards, electricity, all these things. Tribalism will not give us any of these things. In fact, it doesn't even have the capability to deliver any of these things, because it doesn't think like it doesn't act like it doesn't behave like it doesn't even have it can't even pull in the resources. It doesn't do anything.
Put food on the table.
It doesn't. So at the end of the day, I think that this is why we need to do more sensitization, more educating of our people, so that they prioritize what is really going to impact their lives, their standard of living, their future, their guarantee, their security and safety and concerns that they truly have. Because otherwise, when people behave in that fashion or they vote along those lines, their aspirations don't align with their behavior. I don't behavior. I mean, if you have an aspiration, you can be creative about it. I get that. You can be very creative if you want to achieve that aspiration. You can say, okay, to get it, this is the best way to do it. And it may not even be a conventional method. I get that. But tribalism, I don't see how it can even be unconventional in achieving any of these goals. That's my problem with the whole concept. Because it's not only wrong, because it discriminates against fellow human beings. But it also does not even serve the purpose for which we are all trying to aspire for as a people, no matter which side of the divide you belong. It doesn't matter
Okay.
whether you are Fula, Manjago, or Mandinka, or Sarahole, or Wolof, or Aku, or or Jola. At the end of the day, tribalism just doesn't do anything for you, or does not address our aspirations as a people or as even a group. It doesn't.
Right.
Okay. So I'm gonna do. I see if Sam has something. Otherwise, I will do a follow-up question on the tribalism.
I think Sam is still driving.
But he's listening,
Mom-
I think. Sam, are you there? Okay.
Okay.
Then he's
But
gonna come
why I
back.
just
So
wanted to
my
just want-
Mr. Banka,
Mhm.
I think you and Alasas really talk about tribalism, and then that is to sway the votes. But if you look at the history of Gambia since Jawara time, Gambia has a population with I don't know how many percentage, good, sizable percentage Mandinkas, with the highest number, highest percentage among all the ethnic groups, and followed by the Fula. And Wolof and others are all the way in the bottom. Now, the argument is you cannot win without having at least, that population behind you. And now that's when you see when parties are coming, they kind of come with they will be like, okay, we are one, we are for unity, we are for this, but at the back of their mind they will play tribal card like what Barrow did by inviting Fullers to the state house.
Mhm.
On the back, in the back door, either we like it or not, it is happening. Somebody will pull somebody and say, "Nko, until mu mandi ko leti, until nanta nyom fa salale, until mu
Yeah,
fulo leti, nyun pull la, roll,
yeah.
Okay, so this is happening. When Barrow came, I'm pretty sure UDF folks, if you ask them, most people would tell you that they don't know whether Barrow was Fuller or Mandinka.
Mhm.
They were surprised to know Barrow has this connection with Fuller.
Mhm.
And Barrow also, and Ahmad Ba, and I will say that's how it is.
Mhm.
They are using that Fuller side also to connect more to Fuller.
Mhm.
So I have seen an increase in Fullers towards Barrow recently because
Mhm.
I have Fuller
Mhm.
friends,
Mhm.
you know. So I communicate with them.
Mhm.
Their attitude towards Barrow in the beginning has really softened, which is great. I
Mhm.
mean, it's good. I mean, like anybody can support anyone based on what. But I'm telling you, these tribal
Mhm.
things that you guys are talking about, it is there. Either they say it or not, they're doing
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
And if anybody sits here and say tribal will not play any part in politics, we are fooling ourselves.
Mhm.
Dabo with UDP, they will go behind doors and then talk to Mandinkas and tell them, look at UDP. They will not come out right. And we have to call a spade a spade. This is the fact. It is
Right.
undermining our politics, our people we choose for office. Okay? So this
And
is the fact.
that's why I
When
said
coalition came together, Halifa was more qualified than Barrow.
Mhm.
Okay, you can make this argument because UDP as the biggest party, perhaps that's why Barrow ended up being chosen. But I kind of smell that there must be backdoor deals. I mean, like we are still in a premature state to elect people based on their knowledge, based on their capacity. Alifa was far more fit than Barrow
right.
when they were contesting, and even Ahmed Ba, they had more experience. Let's just be realistic. Okay, one can make that argument that UDP was a bigger party, maybe that's why the vote were swayed to that. But I'm pretty sure if you ask Halifa, he was hoping that he might get the nomination to become a flag bearer. He
Mhm.
didn't know that he was gonna go that way because of his qualification, experience, and so forth. Or perhaps we
Mhm.
wouldn't even be finding ourselves in this situation.
Right.
So we are having a tribal politics problem, and it's deeply rooted in our system. Now we have young generation of people coming up. 60% Gambian population are generation. I mean, a young generation. So now is the time to communicate and tell this young generation, listen, I can be Mandinka, but I still support Fuller candidate based on the ideal that they're gonna deliver. So I think that's the point that we are in right now. We are in a crossroad. But to say that it's not embedded, trust me, some people will pull you on the side. They have done it to me and they are doing it. And especially the old folks. The old folks are doing it. Okay? When
You know, this is
when there's a
something.
table with Wolof person, with fuller person, with something person, and you are a Mandinka, you see how old, somebody will come and go. Nga kiteng. Yan to Mandinka buka nyo fasa. Nindo ba, oh, minan pula. Man fula ka umoy, but that's what they will say. Wolof will say, hey, I'm gonna do social can. So it's always this underground works. And unless and until this young generation become sensitive or understand, we need to vote on issues, values, beliefs, capabilities, and so forth. We will still be going through tribal politics.
Yeah, that's it.
So that is my take on that.
I
Very
think
cool.
people make it very easy, Mr. Sawaneh, because I mean it's always easy to say I vote for Mr. Sawaneh because he is a Mandinka. So the issues, and as Banka said, these qualities, reasons, to make argument with themselves. You know, I'm having a voting card. This is my life, and this is going to give me a better life. I think before many people think about it, they have to first know the use of their voting cards. You know, that's why I mentioned it. To know the ability they can have with their voting cards without going to the streets demonstrating and all this nonsense. It's your voice, and you can move everything with it. You can even push the president out of that place. So you know the use of your voting card, but do it correctly. You know, and the problem we have, that is not from today, that is from even Jawara's time those days. That many people try to get the people through tribalism, like those people Penjai
Yeah.
and Co. You see that the Wolof will run there because they know this person and he's from there. He's a Wolof. So that's for many people the most important thing. I vote for this man because he's from. That is what you said, Banga. It's just identity. The people want to identify themselves to that party or
Right.
whatsoever just because they are from the same tribe, from the individual or how. So the other questions are not relevant. You understand? The other reasons why people go and vote somebody are not relevant. That's
Right.
why we are stagnant and having problem to go forward. We have seen it in Guinea. I mean, it's unfortunate, but the problem they are having here today is a fruit and a product of tribalism. If not, they would have kicked this man out. But this division was there all the time. That's why I used to say, together we are rock, divided we are dust. You understand?
Very cool.
Why Jammeh moved because Gambian tried to realize at that end that we have to come together, and that was the time where Gambians put away about tribalism. They put about their division. They came together and make it move. That's it. That's it together. And it's a good example. I know that everybody knows now that Gambians can do it, and no president will be there and say, I'm going to stay and do what I want. Because Gambians can do it. We saw it to the world. So this togetherness, if we want to also change for a better life, as people wish, then they have to respect their voting cards. I mean, it's politics. You have different ideas and opinions. Benachin is not testing me and test everybody else. Somebody is saying, "Oh no, I don't like Benachin because I used to have problem with my stomach." It's good because it's a personal, individual thing. You understand? I cannot force you to say, Banka, you have to vote this party today because I am there. You have to, and these are the influences we have in Gambia, as Mr. Sawaneh also mentioned, and then in that position, people forget the problems they have and what they can change because of the interest of the person who want to be a president or whatsoever. It's also not giving them the chance to even be neutral and think about their own personal problems before giving him their cards. That's why I said the opposition or the politicians, it's even their duty to inform the people to be real without using any religious influence or tribal influence. And so tell them, hey, that is my agenda. In fact, most of them don't have even agenda. That's the problem. We have in 16 parties now in Ghana, but you hardly see somebody coming and tell people, look, if you vote for me, I am going to do this and that and that. Or even if Barrows did something, they come out and tell Mr. Barrow, you did it this way, it's wrong that way, my party is going to do it this way. That is opposition. And we miss that too in Gambia. They are all waiting for election, and when it comes, they start with their drums and try to get the majority, and that's it. So this person will not change anything. This person will not change anything because even if he doesn't, people cannot blame him because people voted him. That's why it's very important that people know the use and the power of their voting cards. I think then Gambia can go forward because any president who sits there knows that people are thinking what I'm doing is good or not. At the end of the day, if they don't see any progress, then they know how to.
Alas, we are still falling into this notion of buying people. And if you look at the
that is African politics.
If you look at this government, when you ask them, the confidence that they believe in, especially with Barrow's NPP, is that money talks. Still, their way of doing things is happening. So we're gonna be here sensitizing our people. Say no to their money. Vote on issues. Vote on your future, the unborn. Vote that you want a better Gambia, just like other countries like Rwanda and other places. But at the end of the day, you buy them bag of rice, you see them running after the trucks, killing themselves, something just for immediate results. They're not looking at the long-term, results, the long-term, effect of their votes. So this is why civic education like this is very important. We get into when we keep pounding it, at least it will connect with some people in their brains, because voting on tribal line, voting on money, immediate results, immediate satisfaction is not gonna fix our country. And we have to put our country first in order to actually climb this mountain. Banka, you are one person that nobody can speak for when it comes to that. You have sacrificed for the Gambia. We've seen it, and this is the kind of sacrifice that we need people to do. Sacrifice not only going out there and causing out somebody or attacking a president or do it. Now, when you see something wrong, stand up and say, for the sake of my country, I will defend this. When you say corruption in the airport, say, I'm not going to encourage it. I'm not going to go and give tips for me to carry let my goods pass the airport, because you are encouraging corruption. Because those people are there, they know you're coming from Europe, you have money. Of course, they will let you pass. Pass because you're giving them, they're expecting something. You are encouraging corruption. So we cannot say that, corruption is only from the top. It's among ourselves too. We contribute to it.
Very true.
So if everybody is there getting double money in their pocket, of course, what is going to happen? They will encourage it. And that's how you go to the police officer and say, you don't have your license. Your license expired. You give him 2,200, 300, So you're going to be driving like that. So people are feeding off of that. And that's encouraging corruption. So the whole entire thing is we have to see that we need to stop this. It's not good for the country. Don't look at your own self, your own result. You don't want to stay in front of the line I mean, you don't want to stay on the line. You want to be in front because you come from Europe. You have money. So this person see you in immigration and say, you know what, someone, Banka, come. Banka is from America. Be in front of the line because he's expecting that $200. So we are also bidding up our system. The whole country need to come to consciousness and say, we need to cut this. Let's have a system. It doesn't matter who is who. In America here, you can be a basketball player, whatever. When it comes to the line, you have to stand. One day I was I went to the bank and I met with this guy. I forget his name. He's a basketball player, and we were on the line. The guy is tall like this. I was looking at it. I said, I saw this guy. I know this guy somewhere. It happened to be one. I forgot his name, but he was on the line behind me. If that was in the Gambia, the security would have allowed him to be in front of the line because he's expecting something. And these are the kind of system that we have. Citizen has to take things in their own matter. In here, if you stand in front of somebody, he will tell you, I don't care who you are. Get out of the behind the right. You're going to start fighting. You guys know that. So our citizens need to, take matter in their own hands and stop this corruption. Stop this buying of votes. When they come with you they give you like a rider or this car. Know that they is for something. It's not out of the blue.
Right.
So this is what I think we need to work on in order to help ourselves, in upcoming, elections, in upcoming, fixing Gambia, because otherwise we will never have a right choice of leadership. We're gonna be still, falling in the same thing. Like people gonna come and they will lie to us and go, get to power, and they started becoming more corrupt than even the former person. So
But
that
I used
we
to
are
say,
seeing right now.
I used to say something, Mr. Sawaneh, when we vote for somebody, and that somebody happened to be corrupt or something like that, we also, they used to say, when you saw like this with the finger, know that you're showing only one finger to that person, but the three are coming to you,
pointing at you.
pointing at you. That's what German people used to say. So there is something in it, because when we say this person we voted didn't do it the right way and making noise and so on, at the end of the day, we put him there. So then it's not the fault of that person, but the people also. So, but I cannot say that many Gambian people are faulty, because we all know they used to say the illiteracy in Gambia is about 80%. Just imagine, it's too much, and they are the voters, and they are the people the politicians need, because they are the, look, 80% is too much. If you can get them, then you are a president. Even if you tell them lies, they're going to vote you. If you promise them and fail, they are going to vote you, because their capacity of thinking, as Mr. Sawaneh said, it's unfortunately not too far to realize that this person is cheating me, is fooling me. Even if I vote him, he's going to tell me lies. So they need to be at that level first, and it's not, because 80% of our population, just imagine, is too much. So what I need for these people is just to make a big drum for them and cook benachin and give them some bag of rice and some signs, and I have it. I have the voting card from this person, and tell him that you are one of me. I'm a Fula, you are a Fula, or I'm a Wolof, you are Wolof. You get it? It's just easy, and I hope that and praying that things will change, as Mr. Sawaneh said, that the other generation, even if we cannot change it our time, we did change it through the technology and everything. Today, a lot of information, and so that's why many people say in years to come, it's not going to be easy for politicians, because before people vote you, you have to explain to them why and everything.
Correct.
You've seen it, even in America. So it's not going to be easy, as they used to do it traditionally. You promise the people the whole world, they vote you today, and you keep enjoying your life and your family, and forget about them. And they will not realize it. If the next election come, you go and drum for them, you throw rice, they vote for you again.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
So
they will not realize, they are not too far, as Mr. Sawaneh, you say. You know, it's unfortunate. You know, and we are, if you imagine Gambia is 80% illiteracy. So that's why it's
yeah,
better
but
to inform the people to know their rights and
Uh-huh.
not to demonstrate thereafter. That's why I don't support it. Because I used to say every individual is having the right to vote. Use it, take your time. Even if you think about it 2 nights, whom am I going to give my card? Then the constituents, the results later, you should not blame anybody.
yeah.
Right.
Banka and them are having platforms, so Banka can really, tell us what is their, like their goal on that, getting this message across for the next election. Because I know you are not, you are in. I'm pretty sure you are not supporting any party as of now that I know, and perhaps you are not running for any office right now, right?
Right. That's true. Uh-huh. That's true. That's yeah. You nailed it. That's what it is. Uh-huh. So, oh, I thought you wanted to ask a question.
No, I'm just
But
saying that what are you and your guys, what are your what are you trying to aim at with this
Mhm.
election coming, since we have all these missteps, we have all this
Mhm.
shortcoming, the constitution down in the drain, all this thing happening. What is it that you guys are also like planning, like doing to help at least shift the curve around. Make sure we come back to the dream that we had.
Well, I mean, as you know, with the 40 People by the People program, what we seek to do every week is to have a conversation around these issues. Whether it's when we invite people over, which we do a lot. We have a lot of people that we invite over there. Today we have actually Oli Dibawada of the UDP, who is going to be joining us today to again discuss these kinds of issues. So our goal is to have a very engaging, very robust conversation around these issues that you guys have alluded to. And it looks like we have the same agenda, because that's the only way we can um, together sensitize and educate each other. Because this is not a you see, it's not a monologue; it's a dialogue. So we have our opinions, as you know, and our guests have their opinions, and people who also contribute. I mean, our viewers have their opinion, and together we all bring all these opinions to bear, and with a view to really gauging where each stand and how what we need to do to, or what solutions we can come up with to solve our common problems. These problems of, like we said, the transitional
Right.
justice issues that we are having, these constitutional issues that we are having, healthcare issues we are having, education issues we are having. I mean, lack of food sufficiency. I mean, the food insufficiency, if you will, issues we are having, lack of utilities, electricity, water supplies. I mean, I can go through the whole gamut. These issues and our aspirations as a people to really achieve all these objectives and to address our environmental problems, because the environmental disaster is unfolding in the Combos and all over the Gambia. That's why these days it's so hot over there. It's not even funny. If you call the first thing they tell you,
I
huh?
heard of it.
I'm baby can bring
Yeah.
nyam from yeah. That's what they tell. Because we don't understand this has a lot to do with our climate change, with climate change, and how we are treating our environment even over there. How we are building houses. I mean, if you go to the ozone fronts, we have blocked all of them with
Yeah, we
houses.
talked
So
about it last time.
even a whole lot of issues that are happening over there. So, but again, what point I'm making is we are trying to encourage these sort of discussion that you all are having, and we are having, to make sure that it's not even limited to us, but it's encouraged all throughout the country. So we are even trying to expand the platform. Now we are on YouTube also, not just on Facebook. We are also doing podcasts, not just, and we are also on Fat Radio. So, and even on the ground, we'll be partnering with radio stations on the ground to, take the conversation to those radio stations, local radio stations, so they can transmit the programs over there. This is all part of the effort to really engage the country, engage each other, have a conversation about these issues, and make sure that the voter, each and every one of us, educate ourselves as to the kind of what we need to do to bring about the country we want. And like I said, the country we want is not in dispute. It's not like we even have a disagreement on that. We are all on the same page. We all have the same aspiration as a people. And so this is great. The problem though is our approach to achieving it is where we are, and this is where the tribe issue came in. People voting just along tribal lines. You guys are just, you hit the nail on the head. That is, these are all part of the problem. Or people just giving money, buying their votes. These are all issues that we are having. So it's not like people who are relying on tribe or using this, voting based on tribe, don't have the same aspirations that you and I have. They do. They just happen to be convinced that to achieve that aspiration for themselves, this is the method. And because you gotta understand, tribe is about power. Everybody's trying to grab power for themselves. The limited resources that we have, everybody's trying to bring it to their end. So, and that has created this hard mentality where every group is trying to pull the resources to their side. And that in an effort to pull these resources to each other's side, each other trying to put it on their side, fighting over power and dominance. This is why tribe is becoming currency, because people think that's the one way to do it.
Right.
Now, if we can only convince those people that, I'm sorry, in fact, yes, you might think that way, but it's the opposite that's going to happen. When you do it based on tribe, you don't understand that all of us share this space. This is shared space. Just because you have pulled the power in your end doesn't necessarily mean it's going to get you anything, because those who have done it in the past have realized it got them nothing.
Right.
And politicians are the ones that are perpetuating these things. And those politicians, by the way, are not doing this for you. They are doing it for themselves.
Right.
That politician doesn't care a hoot about, if Ahmed Ba pushes the tribe thing to fullest, he doesn't care a hoot about fullest and their issues. He doesn't. He's just using it to get the votes. If Barrow pushes it on the Mandinkas or Senegal pushes it on the Mandinkas, it doesn't mean anything. He's just the person will just be trying to pull the votes to fool you to get your votes.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's not going to do anything for you. It's not like when national resources are being said, the person is going to say, I'm only going to give it to Mandinkas. No, or I'm not only going to give it to the Fullers. No. And the same problem when you go to the hospitals, the lack of healthcare and the lack of quality education in our schools doesn't just affect you, it affects all of us. Or it doesn't just affect the others, it affects you.
Right.
So in the end, these aspirations are the same, and we have to literally, that means we have to hold hands together and fight to achieve them together.
Yeah, but
Therefore, the other person, you only are going to go to the hospital and find out that the same lack of healthcare delivery that is out there in the hospital is going to affect that Jola like it affects you. It's only going to affect you like it affects that Jola. The lack of education in our schools, well, sorry, it affects your child just like it affects the other child. So this idea that somehow this gives you something, it only gives those who are in power something. And that's why they are trying to use it to fool you into buying into it. Don't buy into it because it does nothing for you. It doesn't get, now, but again, what I'm saying is the voter is not stupid. The voters, Gambians are very smart, they are very educated, they are very informed. The only problem is they are trying to use a hopeless method. If they apply the tribal, if they vote based on tribe, to sort of apply a hopeless method to solve what is a very serious problem that they know are fully well aware of, and they are trying to solve too.
Based on tribe and based on money.
Based on exactly, not realizing that method is hopeless.
It's an old
It's not going to
tradition.
give them anything. So as long as we inform them of that and they are fully aware, and we together educate each other on that and realize that voting strictly based on tribe, or just because somebody gave you money today, is a hopeless method to solve the very problem that you are trying to solve to achieve your aspiration. It's a hopeless method.
What about Banka? What about people having this notion that Jammeh did this, Barole the Manuel Sambanyanang? They don't understand that these are from the government's coffer. These are something
you see, when somebody's hungry, no, but not only that, but when somebody's hungry, it's hard to when they tell them that they are stupid for taking the rice. The point that I'm making is this, that at the end of the day, they just need to be informed or educated, or us together educate each other, because we can learn a great deal from each other. You see, I don't want us to look like we are above and they are below. We know they don't know. We are educated, they are not educated. We are smart, they are not smart. No, these people are educated, they are smart, they are informed, they are well aware of their problems. Unfortunately, to solve those problems, if you bring a bag of rice, they think problem will be solved, and that tomorrow they can come back for more and more and more. So problem of the food solved. They think that by voting based on, for instance, tribe, they can gain that power for themselves, so that when they want to that good job for their son, they can just go and say, and then get that. Or the Fula goes there to his Fula relative that is in power and say, hey, and then grab the power for himself. Or the Jola does the same thing on Benjal. So they are not stupid, they are not foolish, they are not idiots. They are smart, they are informed, they are educated, they have a problem that like you and I, they aspire for the same thing that you and I aspire for. They're just using a hopeless method, a method that's not going to get them anywhere to achieve that objective. Yeah.
It's an old tradition.
Those who are voting based on tribe think that the tribe thing is going to gain them power.
But this is the same thing happening this is the same thing happening in positions. Look at the people that they're giving positions to. These people.
No, but that's the politician playing the game. The politician is saying, let me go to them and tell them, and the fullers are probably going to the fullers and telling them the same thing in the bedrooms.
They use it as
I mean, you know, this is what they are doing. And then the Jola goes to the Jola side, and then, you know, the dog whistle play the same. That's what Jammeh used to do. He used to pit other tribes against the Mandinkas like that. By telling them, it was dog whistle. He was telling them, look, these people want to gain power for themselves. Let's elbow them out. Let's get the power for us, on our side. And he bamboozled a lot of people like that to vote for him and to participate in this charade.
Right, but
in the end, did that get the non-Mandinkas anything in the Gambia? No, all it got them is death, like it's, you know, and suffering like Mandinkas. Everybody was suffering under the same roof.
But the politician can come to you, Banka, and say, Banka is our headache. Let's give him a ministry position. We're gonna get him to be quiet, and then he's gonna be with us. Baro can come and say that, and then what happens?
But they're not. But the good news is they cannot do that for everybody. There is still a majority. Yeah, there is still a majority out there. That majority, in fact, that majority is the one I'm concerned about. That majority, the poor guy in the villages, the women that are suffering in the gardens, the young kids, the youths that are taking the back way. Those are the ones I'm talking about, because they are the real people, and they are the ones being bamboozled here. I don't know whether I'm making sense. They are the ones that are being fooled here. Not the guy, the Banka Manneh, who somebody can come to and offer him a position and tell the drag. No. Don't worry about me. You know, the real people. Because on my part, alhamdulillah, I can have my food to eat, my 3 square meals. I mean, I can have it. I have a nice place to stay. You know, alhamdulillah, I thank Allah for what I am able to do. The people that I'm worried about are the ones that are literally struggling and they cannot even make a daily living. The people that are going to bad, horrible schools. The people whose kids don't have access to health care. Those are the people I'm concerned about. And unfortunately, 90% of our population happens to fall in that category. And that 90% actually is the one that is being used to perpetuate this madness. So if you are going to address it, go to those people. They are the real people. They are the ones we need to really have a conversation with.
But then the politician goes there also and build a bridge for them and say, they will say, Jawara low, Barole low, so the whole entire, or they do an agenda for them, give the Ahmadiyya a license to practice Ahmadiyya, then all the Ahmadiyya follow. So this is the
No,
thing that
but Momodou, then if there's just some small little bridge that was built for you is all that's going to get your votes, then you really have to set your standard so low. What I'm saying is the people need to really make sure they hold these politicians to account. Well, you built us this road, great. What about our schools? What about our hospitals? What about our women's gardens? What about our agricultural sector? What about our environment? What about our this? Make those demands, let them be addressed, because it's only when the politicians address those things, and that's how they get their votes, then our problems will be solved. Because in the
exactly.
end, we want to use the voting to get those results.
Yeah,
So
so
in the
Right.
end,
that's why I think the issue is selfishness in the Gambia. It's not, because you look at I'm come from Badibuswara Kunda, then if they build something there, I'm gonna vote for this president. I don't care about the country at large or the kind of
no,
Gambia.
no, 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 no. But no, I disagree with that. I think what tends to happen is, let's say they go and bridge some small little bridge in Swarakunda. Now, even for the village of Swarakunda itself alone, is that what they are settling for? Really? That's all they wanted? That's all that's going to get their votes?
Well,
I mean, they better
that's
sit there
but
and
that's
say, what
happening
about the school? What about the
but that's
clinic? What
happening.
about?
We see that happen. That's
But
been happening in
that's
Gambia.
why we need to inform, we need to educate, we need to sensitize, and then have a conversation with the
Exactly,
voters.
exactly.
That look, what you are
Right.
aspiring for, what are your aspirations? Well, our aspirations are good roads, our aspirations are good hospitals, our aspirations are good healthcare delivery system, our aspirations are good schools, our aspirations are good, to have electricity, water supply. These are their aspirations. Free environment, our clean environment. Our aspirations are to have our quality of living to improve. These are their aspirations. Not just some little breach that you come and build there and say, oh, yeah, now I have your votes, right? No. What about this
But
list one? Let them have a list ready and check mark each one of them. Have you addressed this one? No. What about this one? No. What about? Well, I'm sorry. You still cannot. You still haven't earned my votes yet.
So that's where we
but
haven't get
Banka,
to yet, and that's what we are
That's
striving to get
Banka,
our people.
that's the
that
conversation that we need to have. Correct. Correct.
Banka, that reminds me those days when the white people came to Africa. They gave our chiefs just salt and could buy a family. You understand? So, which was
Yes.
very unfair,
Sadly,
but
but that's what it is.
sadly
Sad,
still
but that's what
going
it is.
on. So
Yes.
because the level of education those days was not for them, they thought that this salt is very something important because they themselves didn't even discover it. But these white people took it from their doors.
Mhm.
You understand? So these are these things. Sometimes you have to let the people wake up. I mean, we're still having something similar because these sardines, you go to the shop in Gambia, you pay a lot of money out of it, and it's from our sea. These people come and take it, they put it in pots and bring it back to us. We pay for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that means the
Sad, but that's
time is
true.
not
Yeah.
even changed. So
Yeah.
unless we open our eyes, teach the people who know not much. It's not a matter of making yourself big or, as you said, we have to educate each another. But once we know more about democracy and so, I think we can even give it over to the next generation so that they can profit from it. Because what we are hoping is that the politicians or oppositions or something like that to come not only for the people to vote for them, but to educate them. For example, being an opposition,
Mhm.
I think when I have people in front of me, I'll talk about more about Gambia and what to do for the people in the future and things like that, and where you see wrong and what should be corrected. That is what is expected from a politician, and not to talk about tribe or religion or such nonsense. You know. So
Yeah.
the space is there just because the people hearing, we come back to topic. The
Yeah.
people hearing themselves need to be educated to know their rights, Or what is this man telling me? What is this man trying to push my thinking, my way of thinking, or things like that? Or even while talking, you can even tell him stop and tell him your opinion. It's democracy. correct him if he is false. But we have this concept from childhood. When politician is talking, everybody should be quiet and then say yes, yes, yes.
Their word is a word of
Yeah,
God.
and that's it. Yeah, yeah, so all these things, that's why I say it's a process. We have this democracy new, I call it our new baby, it's still a baby, should start to walk and then, grow up. And it's a process. We cannot just make it within 1 week. Later, I hope the next generation, they can change it and they change, it will change. It will change because even Europe, America,
Yes.
it was not like today. It's a process. It goes year after year, people learning more and more and more. So our problem is only our setback because 22 years of dictatorship, we missed a lot. If you look Banka now, a boy with 22 or 23 years
Mm-hmm.
of age, this person
Yeah.
don't know anything about democracy
Mm-hmm.
because he's born in
Yeah.
dictatorship. Born in dictatorship, he knows only that.
Mm-hmm.
So you bring democracy now. So this person must start to
Mm-hmm.
learn it bit by bit. That's why many people, if you ask them in Gambia, they tell you freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Because that's all what they know is about democracy. So all these things are coming to be known and how
Yeah.
it works. You see that not only from the youth, the politicians themselves also. Because if I'm a politician, I stand within the public, I should tell them something very constructive. I put away that and the problems, telling them about tribe or religion or nonsense. So
Mm-hmm.
people hearing themselves, they should try and ask themselves, is this man real? But the fact that they don't think of it, that means there's something lacking. And this gap,
Yeah.
we have to help them and then show them their rights, how to do it, and things like that. I
Yeah.
think, what we are doing here now, if you go to Ghana, they respect civil education because they know civil education. You do it only because you want to educate the people also who are not who didn't get the chance to go to school, but still to cope with the system. And Ghana is putting a lot of money in that. Last time I even saw something, they did it like a theater. They invest a lot of money, and they saw it in the like Gambia GRTS, because they know the use of it, the effect of it. Because you have people, you know, that most of them are not educated, and most of things they have to know it from the school. But then you can still give them the chance. Doesn't matter
Right.
which age. Through that, they'll understand. As you said, Banka, Gambians are smart. If you give them the chance, they learn it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You
think
see me here, I came here, I could only speak English, but I did my master's here in Germany.
Yeah.
They were surprised to get an African like that because they
Yeah.
themselves, especially when I get, they themselves, they used to dream about it. It's not a job.
True.
So Gambians are not stupid.
Yeah. I agree.
But then it's the responsibility for politicians or elders, to put away these religious things and political things and help the Gambian themselves. We have to mold the Gambian people, help them in any way to think better and so on. But we have a problem. We are talking here, but the people who should hear it have access problem of getting access in internet. You understand? Having even a handy in their hand. Why? Because they are offer from corruption. You know what I mean? They are offers. How to call it? We call it in German offer. I mean, they are victims. You understand why I'm talking? They are
Yeah.
victims. You cannot blame them.
Mhm.
These are all
Yeah.
products of corruption. Had
Correct.
it been that everything was fairly divided, then maybe they could have handy, they could get access and
Correct.
all those things. That's why corruption is dangerous. To be compared with
Yes.
corona. It's
Mhm.
disastrous. And
Yeah.
more dangerous is when we are living with it and cannot even recognize
Yeah.
that we are living in this world, in this
Correct.
corruption world. That's the biggest danger, and that's what we are having.
Yeah.
But anything you do in Gambia now is a daily life, So who will say, Banka just He will even be praised. Oh, Banka is a big guy. He tried. Look, he built this building here
Yeah.
and there and that,
Mhm.
without even trying to ask themselves how comes. Banka didn't have anything. They employ him. After 2 months, he's building villas and so. This question
Mhm.
never comes to it because it's the daily
Correct.
life. The other one
Correct.
is doing it. The other one is doing it. So who's going to question?
Yeah.
It's a paradise. So it's very unfortunate that even Gambia in 2017, what was categorized
Mhm.
in the countries which is the same with the highest corruption in the world.
Correct.
Just imagine, it's the same. Many people
Mhm.
don't know it, but we are
Yeah.
not categorized in this category.
Mhm.
But we ourselves in Gambia, we cannot see it
Mhm.
because everything has been going like that. It's a
Mhm.
daily life.
Yeah.
Hmm? So we should not be
Yeah.
surprised that when some have it, some don't have it because it's not
Mhm.
divided correctly.
True. Mhm.
Hmm? And
Mhm.
then who is going to be responsible when we, after 4 years, don't even have this bill signed?
Yeah.
That is showing you because it's nobody's interest.
Yeah.
Who is going to come out and say, I've never done it or I am not in corruption, so I'm going to fight for this?
Mhm.
Who?
Mhm.
Because even if you are real, the real people are going to be fought.
Yeah.
If you're real, you are a lonely person. You don't have friends. You
Yeah.
understand? And
Mhm.
this is the problem we're having in our society. What Mr.
I
Samater
agree.
did was a very, very, that's why I respect this man, you know,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm.
But I used to say normally it should not have been his speech.
Mhm.
I praise him.
Mhm.
But this speech I was expecting from other people, even the parliament there, that's why I say it's the same.
Yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
And these are the problems we have. And everything you see there is just a product and fruit of it. Unless
I
we
agree.
find that, then we find our way.
The same problem persists, right? That's
Yeah,
very
but
true. Yeah. Mo,
Yes. So
I am
that we're
supposed
gonna
to
start
go.
to wrap it up.
Yes, because our program is coming up
Yes,
very
yes,
soon
yes,
in few
yes. Yeah,
minutes.
I was
So.
just waiting for Alas to
exactly.
finish what he was saying. So
Mhm.
definitely, we have come to the end of this program. Again, Banka, this is an opportunity for you to come and then share your views.
Thank you.
You guys are doing a wonderful job, and then
Yeah.
sensitizing people, and it is a collective effort.
Yeah.
This kind of civic education programs that communicates issues and people's opinions is really
Mhm.
important, because you never know who's going to benefit, and
Yeah.
what that can help our society, our political spectrum, and so forth. So it's
Mhm.
been a pleasure having you over here. I mean,
Thank you.
I know definitely your show, you guys also invite people and then talk to them in a way that that would get information out of them and so forth. So we follow the program as well. So keep up the good work. Alas and Banka, what are your last words, to conclude? You can give.
No,
Hey,
I will say it. Yeah.
Mr. Sawaneh, I just wanted to, sorry, I wanted to apologize. I got interrupted. I got to my destination, got interrupted, so I had to mute my line, and it went off video as well. But I
Yeah,
wanted to take this opportunity to really thank Banka for his time and commitment to making
Thank
sure
you.
that we are educating our people, but also sharing information and enlightening our people about what a developed country should be. What Gambia needs to be. So I really appreciate it very much. I apologize I didn't get the time to spend on this today, but I'm sure sometime down the road we'll catch up later. And
No,
Mr.
no
Sawane
problem. Thank you, Sam.
and Alice, thank you so much for your dedication
Thank,
and your
thank,
time, and
thank
we'll
you,
definitely
Sean.
catch up. Yep, thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you very much,
Yep,
Sam.
sure.
I will say thank you very much, Banka, for your time.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. It's all about Gambia. We
Yes.
do also take our time, especially me, and I hardly get it, but I used to offer 2 hours. That's my contribution.
Yeah.
you know. But
It's
I'm very happy
more
that
than
you are
enough.
here, and then more or less, it's all the same because what we see is only Gambia. So
Mhm.
I hope that many people will think also like that. That,
Yes.
uh, The need will be better. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Sawaneh.
Yeah,
Thank you.
final word, Banka, to the audience.
Well, no, actually, I just want to say thank you to you guys for doing a wonderful job and for inviting me here. It was truly an honor. And let's continue the conversation. Keep it up. Keep educating. Keep learning.
Thank you.
Keep asking the questions. Keep raising the issues. Let's never give up. Our country will be fine. We'll one day all meet over there under the big tree and tell ourselves, look at the wonderful work we have all done together as a people. And I have
We
no
hope.
doubt in my mind Gambia will prevail, and in the end, our country will definitely, for no doubt in my mind that we'll achieve the country of our dreams. So keep it up, keep it going, and don't give up, and don't stand down. Let's keep this going.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you.
We appreciate
All right.
everything. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.